Tennis has a bunch of greatest of all time debates, but the truly mind-shattering stuff is the numbers that fuel those debates. I'm talking about records that look like a broken spreadsheet, records that feel less like sport and more like relentless bullying. So today, we're not ranking players. We're walking through the most absurdly lopsided records tennis has ever produced. Head-to-heads, venues, surfaces, and pressure stats. The kind of stuff that shouldn't exist in a sport this competitive. Let's start with the cleanest, cruelest category of all. There's lopsided, and then there's undefeated. In the Open era, the most lopsided head-to-heads are genuinely ridiculous, because you're not just losing. You're losing every single time, across years, across surfaces, across versions of both players. The big three dominated their era, but their dominance has layers that still surprise most people. Here are some of the ones that still don't feel real. Novak Djokovic vs Gael Monfils. 20 matches, 0 wins. For Monfils, it's basically a long-term subscription service. You book the match, Novak takes the points, everyone goes home. And the ATP literally lists this as the most lopsided open-era head-to-head record. While the record is lopsided, the matches were not. And for Monfils to not get a single one is absolutely mind-blowing. Rafael Nadal knows a thing or two about dominance. And when he looked at Richard Gasquet across the net, that's exactly what happened. Nadal's 18 wins to Gasquet's 0. Gasquet is not some random. He's had an elite career, he's been world-class, and Nadal still went 18-zip in tour-level meetings. This was a matchup nightmare for Gasquet, and the head-to-head backs this up. But this is the most shocking of them all. Roger Federer vs David Ferrer. Federer played him 17 times and never lost once. It makes no sense for a guy who competed that highly to not come close to sniffing a victory. Djokovic and Monfils have the worst head-to-head in history, but if we look at the modern day, we've got another one that is quietly turning into an accident you can't look away from. Jannik Sinner vs Alex de Minaur. 13 matches played, 13 wins for Sinner. 30 sets in total, only 2 won by de Minaur. And if you're de Minaur, the worst part isn't even the scoreline, it's the frequency. For context, Sinner has played de Minaur about as much as he has played Alcaraz. Bad luck of the draw for de Minaur, and I don't see this one flipping anytime soon. You keep doing the right things, you keep going deep in tournaments, and the reward is, congrats, another Jannik Sinner ass-whooping. The scariest players aren't just the ones with ridiculous head-to-heads. It's the ones who collect perfect records like souvenirs. Djokovic's 20 to love on Monfils is the headline, but the rest of Djokovic's most dominant head-to-heads reads like a massacre. Against Jeremy Chardy, 14 to love. Against Andreas Seppi, 12 to love. Against Milos Raonic, 12 to love again. And against active Taylor Fritz, 10 to love. And it's Djokovic making his stand as the most dominant player of all time. Nobody beats Vitas Gerulaitis 17 times in a row. Borg's 17 wins to Gerulaitis 0 is historic, but not for the head-to-head. It's iconic because this is where tennis produces the most iconic coping moments of all time. After he finally beat Jimmy Connors after losing to him 16 straight times, Vitas Gerulaitis famously said, and let that be a lesson to you all, nobody beats Vitas Gerulaitis 17 times in a row. Only for Borg to beat him a 17th time in a row. And that quote only exists because tennis head-to-heads can get so lopsided that humour becomes the only option. It's also a reminder that these streaks aren't just numbers, they become psychological. After enough losses, it's not, I'm playing Djokovic. It's, I'm playing the story where I always lose to Djokovic. The venue records that should be illegal. Head-to-heads are brutal because it's one human versus another human. But then tennis has a darker category. One human versus an entire tournament and an entire tour. And nobody has ever owned a venue like Rafael Nadal owned Roland Garros. Nadal's record at the French Open is possibly the craziest in sports history. 112 wins, 4 losses, against elite competition. The best single tournament win-loss record, and you can bet the house on this never being broken. And if you want the most Nadal on clay is a cheat code supporting stat, Nadal's 81 match clay win streak, snapped by Federer in the 2007 Hamburg final. 81 on clay. In a sport full of clay rats, he's still dominated. That's the kind of dominance that makes you rethink what surface specialist even means. The women's side has its own brand of madness, because sometimes it's not about who's better in general. It's about a matchup that bypasses logic. Maria Sharapova is a multi-slam champion, but she had a clear antidote in her career. Serena Williams vs Maria Sharapova, 20 wins to 2 losses, including 19 straight wins. This one is insane because Sharapova was a world number 1, multiple slam champion, and a Hall of Fame level career. And Serena turned the rivalry into a scheduled appointment. And then we've got one of the weirdest modern matchups. Swiatek is a player known for dishing out bagels and breadsticks. Iga doesn't just like baked goods. She owns the whole damn bakery. As dominant as she is, she simply couldn't get up on Jelena Ostapenko. 6 losses to her 0 wins. One of the most bizarre head-to-head records we'll ever see. Ostapenko is no scrub, she's a French Open champ, but Iga is a bona fide winner. Betting on her to lose 6 straight to anyone is not wise. Dominating a head-to-head is one thing, but it takes balls to dominate deciding set tennis. Not I own you, not I own this tournament, but I dug deeper. Carlos Alcaraz in 5-set matches is already in historic territory. As of mid-2025, he was a 14-1 in 5-set matches, with commentary pointing to it as one of the best 5th-set success rates in the Open era. And he's only lost to date to an informed Berrettini at the Australian Open, when Alcaraz was just 18 years old. When a guy keeps getting dragged into the darkest part of a match and just keeps making it out alive, you're watching a different level of mental and physical fortitude. The real point of all of this, the reason these records hit so hard is because tennis isn't a one-game sport. There's no bad shooting night excuse. It's you, alone, getting the same result over and over, sometimes for a decade. So here's what I want to know. What is the most mind-shattering tennis record to you? Drop your favorites in the comments below.